Welcome to another Railroads Online Showcase video, M.I.A. edition. Today we are back at the gold mine for a very special episode. And there are a few good news and some bad news that I want to share with you guys up front, just so that you know what this is gonna be about. First up, some good news. I have decided to not remove the roundhouses at this point. I still think that they are completely trivializing a lot of fuel supply chain. You basically don't need any coal towers or firewood facilities if you can just drive your engine into the engine shed and have it filled up completely for free. So, yeah, that's still a bit iffy for me, but right now I don't want to get rid of them. I still think they look amazing. And also, some of the bad news is gonna play into why I still want to keep them around. But another piece of good news today is that I plan on finally getting to the rest of the gold industry chain. And we are going to do everything live today in this episode. It's gonna be quite the banger. And this is getting me to the sad news, it's gonna be the banger to go out on. I have come to the conclusion that I'm kinda done playing Railroads Online. I went on a few hiatuses at different points of the development where I just thought it was really going in a good direction and I just wanted to take a break from the game, hope to see things fixed later down the line. The longest one was between early March to late March, and yeah, after going on to the beta branch, which I still think is an improvement over the state of the main branch right now, there's just so many things wrong with it, and I have stopped enjoying my time playing this a while ago. And at this point, I'm really just here to bring it to a decent conclusion, because after spending almost a year with this entire playthrough, give or take a few days in between, as I already mentioned, this world is special to me. Means quite a lot with the things we managed to do here, and I didn't just want to leave it off completely unfinished, while there are still a lot of things that could be done here that I would have loved to get into if the game was working out a bit better. Right now, with my enjoyment, I think at least I owe it to the world and to you guys watching that I at least do the rest of the gold chain, but everything else, yeah, it's never gonna be fully finished. There's always gonna be things that could be done, but I think what we are going to do today is gonna be a proper send off, and it's gonna be on a good note, hopefully. So let's get right into it. The gold mine is empty, but we are still seeing some particles flow down. Shouldn't be too distracting, so let's just jump into our climax over here, and yeah, let's kick us off in a quite literal sense. So the first leg of the journey is going to be from the gold mine down the 2% grade to this part over here where we will actually fight an engine that I prepared, and that will take us back up the, I think, 1%, 1.5%, not entirely sure, to the stamp mill. And going down here, we are just gonna be riding on the cars without any engine. I've been hearing people set up stuff like this, and this is really the first time that I felt it would be something appropriate here. So this is gonna be how I want to handle this entire trip. And it works out pretty well for what we have right here. Usually if I come up here like to deliver some supplies for the iron mine, I already have my engine up here, so taking that, putting it to the hoppers after those have been filled up with iron ore, it's very easy just bringing those over to the iron mine, and there's no real reason to do something like this, just kick the cars down the track without any engine. But in this case, for bringing up the supply train to the gold mine, that thing is so long that it's basically blocking off the entire siding here, making it pretty much impossible to do anything else while the train is in the station. So I usually just drive the train off, bring it back to its own yard where it can be filled up once again. And then I'm stuck here with loaded gondola cars, and yeah, I would actually have to bring up an engine here just to bring down the gondolas, and I think at this point it's more fun doing it like this. So we should be on the grade right now, and I'll be seeing to us not getting derailed on the trip down. Gonna be quite a long one, but it should be fine. We can do so at decent speeds, and we should be getting through this without any problem. Of course, I also made sure to supply both the stamp mill and the gold smelter with whatever they need in order to produce this into other items. I even made a little test run just to see how the different inputs work out at the stamp mill. And I think the limiting factor is going to be the cordwood, so I made sure to at least fill up that part of the storage. Everything else, well, we're gonna have to see about it. I don't expect to be processing the entire load here. By the way, each car is filled up with 21 units. I just had 84 units of gold ore after my initial supply runs, and then 2 with the gold mine specific supply train, which is also a fun story that we can get into in a moment. There's still a few things to be talked about here. So I pretty much took the class 125 from the crude oil train, drove it over to the, brought it over to the gold supply train, and yeah, I used it as the engine for all of that. The grade that we are going down right now is 2%, and it turns out that the supply train cannot make it up with 2% grade. It's just not happening. And funnily enough, there's another way going up here, and that is by first up going around the north part of the valley, going up with 1% to around this point. And the 1% climb is something that the train could actually do quite well. And I may need to pull the brakes again. I don't want to derail my gondolas. Again, I don't think we will be able to process anywhere near the full amount of gold ore, but at least I would like to bring it down in one go without any derailments and having to re-rail everything. But yeah, the supply train made it down to this point and then up a 1.5% track up to this point in reverse. Then it was a bit more of going down again to the gold mine, but the 1.5% was actually something that the train could do. So another project that I would have here if I was to continue the playthrough would be figuring out how to make a direct line with 1.5%. Coming up from somewhere around here to the gold mine. This may have been a bit much of a break, but I would rather have the car stall out on the finishing straight instead of them derailing over here. This seemed to be the one place where everything could go bottoms up if I'm not careful. There's a bit of even ground that we have to just pass on, but it should be alright. If I don't make it all the way to the engine, I can just bring the engine backwards a bit and that should be alright. We are almost pretty much on the finishing straight anyways, so it's not like we are going for a much longer trip. The goal is pretty much to make it to this point here, and that should be alright. So yeah, I don't know if I would be completely replacing the existing track that we just went down, or if I would be making another different type of line. Maybe one that goes around over here. Not entirely sure if that could happen. I remember doing a 1.5% grade from the sawmill to the iron mine on my other playthrough. But that meant going around this part with I think like a 20-meter radius. It was really quite janky. and also having a loop in the end. Was a nice looking loop, don't get me wrong, but these are things that I wanted to improve upon with my current playthrough, so yeah. And we made touchdown with, or touch up, touch sideways, whatever, with the engine, so now we can get going, and it's kind of fun because I think this is pretty much at 100%, almost at least. Yeah, brakes are something else in the current version. So let's see, there should still be fire in here. Yep, we are looking pretty good. And the Ruby Basin, our good old Mountaineer, one of my earlier engines that I bought for this playthrough, should be able to easily handle the load. So let's take it up the rest of the way to the stamp mill, which is located at around the original placement of the logging camp. Always wanted to use this for something, so I'm glad that I could make this work in the end, despite the difficulties of placing the stamp mill anywhere due to its weird shape. I'm not entirely sure if I really like or dislike the back of the stamp mill being higher up. It feels like it really only fits into very specific places, and those are hard to find apart from on the new map where they basically made a special ledge just for that to fit on. So making that look good, making that work functionally, just keeping everything going and not being too bad is a bit of a task. So let me just run ahead to make sure that we have the switch flipped to the correct line, going up to the back of the industry for the gold drop off. And yeah, this should all be working alright. And yeah, I'm a bit amazed that this is working as well as it does right now in terms of frame rate. So while I made sure to not have really long trains or anything like that for this video, it's looking pretty nice right now, gotta admit. And I also want to make it clear, honestly, this doesn't feel like I'm winning anything by abandoning the game. Quite the opposite. It's not like I ever really hated the game or anything. I quite enjoyed it for a while. I wanted to keep up with it in case it got better, but at this point, well, we've seen how it went for the last few weeks and months, and while I would still hope for it to make the turnaround and just get amazing, realistically, I don't believe that's going to be happening. And yeah, with how unusable some of the stuff is right now, I kind of just want to move on to something else. So while this is not the desired outcome, I would have at least hoped for it to carry me over until Century of Steam releases, but yeah, at this point, I just had to look back at myself and just the way this entire game makes me think right now about the different mechanics it has, the different bugs, and how everything has been going down recently, and just how little fun I had dealing with it in recent times. And yeah, I think that kinda is what it really comes down to. I don't enjoy it that much anymore, so yeah, time to say goodbye because I don't believe that it's gonna be improving. Again, I'd be happy to be proven wrong. I don't want to like completely ignore it from now on. I'll at least be taking a look at the map update once that comes out to see how that pans out, and I'll be I'll be still keeping close enough of an eye on this to be noticing if it gets amazing, but at this point I really do not want to wait for it to become enjoyable enough for me to play. I've given it multiple shots, but at this point I'm calling it quits on that. And I'm also not sure if I'll be covering any future updates for the game. So everything that I did in my testing world with top speed testing, maybe I'll keep it updated. I won't be making any promises. I'm gonna have to see how I feel about this in the long run. If I feel like it's better for me to completely stay away from the game, then that's what I'm gonna do. We seem to be processing a good amount of the gold ore, so that's pretty nice. I would have expected it to start filling up at this point, but we still have some cordwood ore there, so we should be good to get a few more items unless anything else ran out. Still looking alright on the water. I think I bought 72 units, so it should still be processing. Might be the coal at this point. I bought 60 units of coal, and yeah, that's out. Oops. Yeah, I only had like I made another supply run for the coal mine, and it was kind of annoying, really. And yeah, I split down the stuff that I got from the coal mine for my supplies. I split it 50-50, bringing 60 units to the stamp mill and 60 to the to the gold smelter. But we at least have 12 units of refined gold, so that's something. Also, I'm pretty sure the stuff is pretty valuable what we just delivered, so... Oh. 61k, wow. I was talking about getting maybe another 2 class 125s, and this would be enough for 3, so... Yeah, that's alright. So the thing is, I got myself 6 of luggage cars because I wasn't, of a postal cars, I wasn't entirely sure how much they would fill up. I think I can fully load up this one with how much we have produced here. And this is looking alright. So I think I'm only gonna take 4 of these over to the stamp mill. That's gonna help out with lag a bit by just not moving that many cars. So this is everything loaded up. Theoretically, I only would need 1 of these. This is looking a bit weird, but alright. You know what? Maybe just go with 2. I think we are going to get fewer outputs for the from the gold smelter than what we put in there, so this should be alright. And yeah, I got myself a class 47 to send this off with. I think this is a nice engine as far as its stats are concerned. I haven't used it enough to really have too much of an opinion of anything else here. Oh, it's also thankfully still supplied with fuel, so let's get right into it and let's get going. So this is a very powerful tier 3 engine, handily beating out the Mosca in both top speed and tractive effort, so this is quite the gold for outgoing operations. Another one of those S tier top speed engines. So what else would you want? One thing that I noticed is that it doesn't seem to have any display area for your engine name. I'm pretty sure I called this the Gold Digger, but yeah, that just doesn't seem to be appearing anywhere. Also should probably just go ahead and make sure that all the switches are flipped the right way. Otherwise we might just be going back up to the gold mine, which would be a bit of an unnecessary detour. So let's just move along. And yeah, flying around the place is nice. I think the rest of the switches should be flipped, but Yeah, let's just take the quick look around and see if we can really go to our destination here. And gonna have to go left over here. And then I think the second switch to the right is gonna be the one that I will need to go down. And yeah, this is flipped correctly, so this should bring us right along to the gold smelter and bring us over to the back side. And yeah, this is the class 125 attached to the supply train now. And yeah, if I was still to continue with this game, I would definitely try to see how I can implement the whole 1.5% incline there. There have been a few other things going on, especially with the supply train for the... oops. Where did the tender go? I don't know how this happened, I don't know why this happened, but it shouldn't have happened, so yeah. Let's try to stop everything here. I need to make a bit more space in the middle once I find the tender again, and I'll just get that attached once more. So let's take a look at where the entire thing derailed. I mean, it's on a slight downward slope, so I guess it just got a bit too fast for its own good. I thought I was alright just letting it run for a bit and taking care of something else. And where is the tender? It might have been the switch that has done it in. I don't know. But let's bring this one back here. So when it comes to the coal mine, I made a few calculations a while ago. Is the engine still moving or whatever? So I did a few calculations on which one of the things that I was transporting was actually the heavier ones. So I'm using the same engines to get either the 12 empty hoppers up to the coal mine to fill them up and then have them go back down again, or 8 loaded stay cars with beams, and then also 3 smaller stay cars that I haven't filled up until this point. And the thing is, according to my calculations, 12 empty hoppers are a decent amount heavier than 8 stay cars loaded with beams, plus the 3 empty smaller stay cars. Still, I can easily get up the 12 empty hoppers to the coal mine, but if I try to bring up the supplies, the train just completely dies on the way up. So I'm not entirely sure what's going up with that, and I forgot to install the bar over there. Are we linked up? Doesn't look like we are linked up. Okay, gotta apply the brakes so that everything goes back together. I hope this is not gonna become a constant problem, because that would make everything take much longer than it's supposed to. So yeah, basically from all the weights that I get in this game, the train that should be the lighter one cannot make it up the grade, while the heavier one can, and something just completely messed up over there. I also triple checked all the brakes and everything to make sure that none of those are accidentally pulled, even just a little bit. It just doesn't seem to work out, so that's a bit weird. I also had another idea for the entire setup there, where I would maybe bring another line down from the coal mine directly to the smelter. So if we really need to bring up the rails every now and again, we wouldn't need to bring them from the smelter to the coal mine base camp. So basically going from here up to the refinery, then across the back of a mountain, coming down with a 10% drop or something like that. That could have worked out that would work out pretty nicely, hopefully, but once again, it would take a lot of time. And with how weird the entire thing has been behaving, I'm not entirely sure how easy it would be to figure out the correct grade for the entire project. It's not really working as it should right now anyway, so it's a bit weird. And at this point, after going through all of that, I would honestly, I don't know if this is realistic to expect, but I would certainly hope that Century of Steam would just allow to figure out train configurations and grading, just have the whole train builder calculation in-game. Just so that all the values are correct and that you don't have to go to a spreadsheet and assemble things. I think there can be a much more intuitive UI for that kind of thing. And once you get to certain operations, I think it's pretty much required to do some calculations. Unless you really want to go overboard and just go nowhere near your limits. And yeah, to be clear, I basically solved the problem with coal mine supplies by just going with easy industry difficulty and just not really bothering with the additional load. So it worked out that way, but in the end, this is something that I don't really want to do. I want to stay on hard physics difficulty, or realistic, I mean. And I also don't want to waste any supplies for the different industries, but with how the game has been working out, to do the last few supply runs, I kinda had to waste a few things. The sawmill is basically completely empty when it comes to beams and loaded to the brim with lumber, and I really find myself needing more beams for the current operations. Man, this is a weird amount of lag right now. But anyways, we are here to deliver the refined gold. Again, we have 60 units of coal in the back. I'm gonna be looking forward to seeing how much this is gonna bring in. It definitely pays a whole lot of money, I can tell you guys. Wow. So 12 units, it seems to be going down in single units, so we might just see one gold ingot per refined gold. I was kind of expecting it to go down a bit more, but then again, if it's already refined to a point where it basically just needs to be shaped and doesn't have any impurities anymore, then yeah, I guess you would get a lot of stuff from these bags over here. Also, I initially thought that you would actually load the refined gold into these bags over here, but I guess they are for mail and that kind of stuff. So everything most likely just goes into this area here. Can the frame rate please come down? I think we're not getting any more. Oh God. It doesn't seem like we are going to get any more ingots or saves over here, so let me just back this up a little. And this is another thing that I've really gone to dislike about this game. I love playing this in first person and not just going into the UI all the time, but it's so hard getting to interact with some of the stuff at some point. Right now it's giving me the regulator. If I go further in this direction, I'm immediately getting the reverser. So pulling the brake is pretty hard, and that can be quite bad if I need to really be careful about this. Oh wait, no, we might just be full on the ingots, so we basically need to load them up right away. Okay, I need to interact with this one here, and where it goes. Is it loading? Seems like that. Oh, and we only get 5 out of these. I should have maybe bought more cars. I thought this would stack up a bit more nicely, but doesn't seem to be the case. So yeah, we are able to process everything, but we will be leaving 2 of these behind. Sure. Let me just pull the brakes here. I hope this is alright. It's kind of weird how they call this a crane to begin with, but whatever. Okay, but it is loading at least. And it also seems to stop loading automatically, so there's no way of losing stuff over here, so that's nice. And let's now move on to the final stop along our way. I will have to pull a few switches over here, so we'll get to those in a moment. You know what, let me prepare the track beforehand and let's just have the train roll along for the time being. We are going to come out the back of the industry and go around back onto the main line for almost a full loop around the place. But there's a reason I don't want to go the quick way around the other side, because we actually want to take the switchback track, and that only connects to everything here in one direction. So let's go through here. And this will keep us in the southwest area of the entire place. And I think from this point on, we are gonna go past the logging camp and onto the, keeping on the main line, the other track goes right into the runaround for the freight depot. And yeah, I don't wanna go up there. Also, one thing that I noticed and that I cannot get rid of, when I started the playthrough, it was possible to use Railroad Studio to replant all the trees from the default industry placements, where the game would start with a few clearings. At some point, I think with the November update, it's now not possible anymore to have those the trees replanted, and it just creates the clearings where the original industry placements would be. I guess that might be a bit of optimization, but it's really noticeable in some places, especially if I don't have anything else around there and it's just a weird clearing in there. With how trees are spaced out, it's not like it feels any natural. I was actually considering at some point to go around the map and just cut down a lot of trees to make things look a lot more natural, but it's really tough to do that in a way, especially on this entire scale. I don't know how many trees there are in this map, but the map definitely deserves the name Pine Valley. Also, I haven't tested this part of the journey. I just made sure to have the stamp mill supplied. So, I mean, this should be pretty alright. I don't think the engine should be struggling with 2 cars that are filled with 5 of these each. 1,000, which is just 1 metric ton, so that's really not a lot for the cars in this game. Kind of a weird thing how the luggage cars are basically half decoration, all the other cars in this game, I mean, maybe not all of them, but most of them are really just maximizing storage space, and these ones are going a very different route. I kinda appreciate it though. We do a bit of refueling. Also, I hope this doesn't happen here, but okay, this is alright with this engine. Another thing that I was facing quite often recently, with engines like these that have a tender, it got so laggy at points that I was stuck on the tender and just couldn't walk into the actual engine to pull the brakes or something. So I'm glad that this is not the case with this one. I think it happened with the Glenbrook and the Mogul, the Cook Mogul whole version. Maybe some other stuff like the Lima. I don't remember. The engines that I had the problem with, it was a constant issue and it got quite annoying. But with this one, it doesn't seem to be the case. So happy about that. Also, I don't think I ever really talked about the new UI. I noticed it a while ago that, yeah, of course on the new beta branch we have the new driving UI, and honestly, I kinda like it, but it could still be improved by a bit. Like the layout and stuff. There should be some background for this area with all the different levers and all that. Maybe get a better font and also capitalize the words a bit more. Could maybe use the same font as on the gauges here to make that work out a bit better. I would also move the air brake gauge over here to the side and also the compressor to the top of that again. Plus also putting it more integrated into the entire UI. Whistle would be better off either somewhere over here or just to the left with the other gauges. And I know that if you have a dynamo for the electric lights, it's also just another thing just in the right over here on top of the main part. I would also just put that to the other bars, and that would be about it. Some of the switches are nice, but I mean, having an electrical switch for the bell doesn't make too much sense. Let me just check if I also flip the switch up ahead. That may be a bit of a problem. But yeah, I think the UI is overall on a pretty good path. Can do with a few more improvements, but as it is right now, it's also quite alright. But it would be nice if there was maybe a rope to pull like you would do in the actual engines. And maybe for the sender it should also be more something akin to what we actually have inside the engines, like this lever that you pull and stuff like that. It's a bit about the details, but overall much better than anything that we had before. Okay, I'm gonna apply the brakes here. It was maybe a bit of a spicy brake appliance, but hey, we are not going too heavy, so this should be alright. Funny thing about this whole switchback system, every time I consider using it, I feel like, oh god, this is gonna be such a weird amount of work. It's kinda really inconvenient and everything, but once I'm on here, I'm just having a good time. It's kind of fun trying to get the train to stop in time and make it work out as good as it can be. Right now that's of course not too much of a problem, but imagine taking this entire thing with 16 logging cars or something. That's a very different story. I should have maybe extended the switchback tracks a bit further for longer trains as well. But then again, this is a 2% line, so it is kind of limited with what you can really realistically pull up here. But even just going across the back of a mountain on the other side, I mean that's also 2%, so I guess the same limitations apply ultimately. Another thing I was considering, and I would have maybe gone with that if I found a way to make it work nicely, would have been just an alternative to the entire switchback system. So just having another switch in the track somewhere over here and just have it come down to another point where I don't need to do the entire switchback thing at all if I don't want to. The switchbacks are more useful for anything that comes over the back of a mountain and needs to go to the freight depot. So mainly this is really for oil barrels. Should maybe also put the reverser back to front. But yeah, what I really want to do if I was to implement it, have the switch somewhere over here, then likely cross over the switchback and then just continue that way. I don't want to make this an extension of the back end of the switchback. I want it to be like a complete bypass to the entire switchback track at all. And that there isn't really a way that I could see where it wouldn't look completely awful, so that's why I didn't implement it at any point. And as it is right now, it's working pretty nicely anyways. Speaking of the reverser, I've made a video explaining how real steam cutoff sim would work. So it would still allow you to get to the top speed of each engine, and if you just stayed there with your reverser fully pulled, you would just run out of steam and your steam chest would go down in pressure. So that would be the downside to all of that just in real life. And in the end, with how the system is working right now, I just ended up accepting that the engines are not gonna go that fast. I switched out a lot of engines that have a lower top speed just so that I have an alternative that can do about the same performance as the other ones before. And for the most part, I'm just running them with full reverser. Sometimes if I'm just doing stuff around this area where everything is flat anyways, I maybe pull back the reverser a bit to get a bit more top speed, but for the most part this hasn't really impacted my the way I play in a positive manner or anything. I always wanted there to be more to do while you are running your trains, because that can be quite a boring thing. But in the end, it's just a system that I don't really enjoy engaging with. And even if I do, it's usually still in a set and forget kind of setting. I'm not actively trying to get the most out of it. I'm just trying to see how much I can pull it back, and once the engine starts slowing down again, I'll just pull it back a bit, or pull it forward again a bit and leave it there. That's about the extent of everything. But yeah, this is gonna give us a nice overview of this entire part of the valley. Gold smelter in the background there, and we should be coming around to a nice top-down view for the ironworks and also the coal mine base camp. Also, when it comes to the Railway Express Agency, which is still over here on part of this nice ledge, which is sadly very uneven, or at least too uneven for any regular sized industry, but I wanted to use it for something. My initial thought was to make a switch over here at the point where we cross over to the other side of the mountain, and just have the track follow the side of the mountain to the left and then just come down and go to the Railway Express Agency. I tried building this up and it didn't really work out, so you're going to see what I did there instead. It's gonna take a while though. It's quite a long trek down and we are going to follow it to its fullest. So over to the left here we can also now see the ironworks with all the track and all the cars I have there, as well as my huge coal tower array for the coal mine base camp. If I was to build the other base camp for the rail supplies, or just the connection to the smelter in general, I think I could maybe make this a bit smaller really. I mean, it would just be the removal of one single siding. So I don't think I would really be touching that at all, apart from deleting a few cars there. I was never too much of a fan of using the Greg stay cars. I mean, they are nice because with their capacity for 4 rails, they work out pretty well for the overall ratio that the coal mine needs, but the cars are a bit awkward. Very easy to derail. Look a bit weird because they are so much smaller than the other ones, and yeah, I think in the end it would be a better idea to just maybe slow it down again a bit again, just so I don't lose the tender once more. It would be a better idea to just have a track go down here, and I think every 5 supply runs for beams I would also need to do 1 for the rails, and that wouldn't be too bad. But again, it would be a huge undertaking, and at this point I would really need to see some improvements from the game first to make sure that it's still worth the investment. I was also considering of making maybe another world tour after this video, just to really send off everything. But we are already doing quite a trip around the place for the most part. Coming up to the refinery in a moment. And I guess we might just be talking a bit more about that. Let's see, where is that switch up there pointed towards? Let me just grab that. I don't want to go into the actual industry. That's gonna be sticking to the main line, passing right by it. I don't even know how much I showed this. I guess I can leave the train alone for a moment. I had to install larger ramps over here because I would always end up losing at least the first barrel of each ramp when I started loading them. So this may be looking pretty awful, but at least it's working. And it's this kind of thing that I wish we would just get addressed with some updates. Somewhere between those weird mega ramps on the platform and having to integrate wood rigs into the other unloading platforms in different industries, it's really becoming a mess trying to keep things working correctly. Oh, there's another switch I should take care of, and we are almost at 30 miles per hour, which is shouldn't be too harsh for the cars and engines, but I don't really trust everything right now, so better slow it down at least a tiny bit here. And yeah, we are going around the entire area of our iron smelter station. I still love this place. It's such a nice one. It expanded so significantly, especially once I got the crude oil operations going, with steeper track going up to the refinery and all that. It's pretty nice. I love what we accomplished over here. But yeah, in the end, with some of the weird braking stuff, it got a bit annoying when some of the things stopped working correctly. I think right now it's actually functional again, and Yeah, I just wanted to pull the brakes a bit more and I completely failed on that, so geez, gotta of course derail it again for the end of it. I actually wanted to have a bit of a look around here, but yeah, that was not happening with how I handled the entire situation. Okay, first up, 100% brake. Get the coupler back in. Derail the engine. Maybe facing the right direction, that would be helpful. This is also something that I noticed. If you derail any car or engine, despite the brakes being fully pulled, it's not gonna react to that. So we're gonna have to release the brakes first and then pull them again. There's just so many weird things with everything right now. But yeah, one of the reasons why I feel a bit more lighthearted about all the stuff going on here. Oh, that thing almost clipped into the ground completely. It's just that... Oh, please let me pick that up again. Come on. I know that I won't be dealing with this for too much longer. That just makes all the bugs a bit more bearable, because this is basically the last trip. We may have... Oh no, we finally got it. I was about to say we may have lost one of the cars to the mountain, but here it is again. Let's slightly pull the brakes and... Oh yeah, I cannot go through the entire thing here. Let me go up to the engine again. Okay, I have a link in there, just to make sure. And yeah, I never got too friendly with knuckle couplers in this game. I mean, they are definitely better for quality of life stuff, and just having them automatically work is it is superior, but I don't like how they have been implemented as just a menu option instead of being a proper upgrade and everything. It's a bit cheap in my opinion. And some of them also don't really look all that nice. Just the stuff on the Greg cars in particular. Wasn't really the biggest fan of that, and I think, yeah, I shouldn't. Thankfully I got rid of that Lincoln pin, because otherwise I couldn't put these together. But now we are good to go again. Still plenty of fuel in the firebox, so yeah, let's roll. Oh. I may have forgotten a slight detail here, I think. Not entirely sure. Oh god, that's so gonna ram into me. Doing this on a 2% rate is maybe not the best idea. I mean, at least it has everything come together if you just break the frontmost thing. Another thing I want to mention regarding the speed meter and everything, I don't get why they put it up to 80 miles per hour. General top speed of the engines is somewhere around 30 for the fastest ones. Oh yeah, I definitely need to flip that switch, come on. Whew. I think that was also another one that I wanted to look out for. Put the lever wrong direction. I want to check in on this one when I derailed the entire train here. So there should only be 2 more switches to go, and then we should finally make it up to the to the agency. Where was I? I don't remember. Anyways, while this one is just doing its thing, let's go up ahead and see if the last few switches are actually flipped. Oh yeah, top speed gauge. I'll get back to that in a moment. We still have a bit more of a trip to go, but we should be pretty good here in a moment. Yeah, that's the new switch to get us to the Railway Express agency. First up, it's a bit weird how they go up to 80 miles per hour. I think some of the stuff, depending on your track, you can maybe go to 40 if you are on a downward slope and just really going with risky speeds. But I think really 40 should be about the end of it, and it should be pretty much red from 30 to 40. That would also make it easier to read the entire thing if it was just stretched out by twice the amount. But yeah, right now that's all a bit weird. Also, one thing I noticed, just keep an eye on the air pressure gauge. If I go back in here, oh no, this one doesn't do it. I've seen it sometimes where it just goes with air pressure from 0 to 100 every time you go back into the menu. But right now this seems to be fine. It's just a lot of bugs with this game, and while I don't mind some of them, like some of these things are a bit weird, but they don't really impact me in any meaningful way. But a lot of things that are going on right now with how the game is behaving, I don't really want to see too much more of it, honestly. Also, I hope I cut away enough trees to make the rest of this thing work out well. And yeah, speaking of the Railway Express Agency, coming down from the 2% line, around at the place where I derailed and maybe up to the point where I try to get it off the map. Oh, we are actually here now. So let's stop the entire thing. Yeah. To around the place where I derailed the entire train again, that was another place where I considered putting in a switch and then switching out to go into the express agency. So maybe I would have needed a larger bridge across the valley. That would have been another option, but I couldn't really make it work, so the stuff that we have here right now, that's just what it's gonna be. So let's see, how does unloading work? We are rolling backwards, it appears. And yeah, I should have maybe put the brake a bit further. Some of the weirdness when trying to... You are at 100%, you're not rolling back down here, thank you very much. Some of the weird stuff, just trying to unload the cargo and not being able to do so, it's another one of those things that I don't really like too much. I think this should be working. And yeah, we are making a lot of money here. 130k at the moment. Oh my, I should have maybe made a smaller trip more recent instead of trying to grind out the other industries for money to get more engines and all of that. But we are definitely swimming in it right now. Okay, can I get the last set of them? Doesn't seem to unload here. Maybe like this. Oh yeah. Okay, it's not landing on the roof as I feared for a moment, so that's a good thing. Maybe I could have moved the track a bit further away from this, but well, with some of the stuff, it's really something that you would have to rework a few times to really see how it's going to work out and optimize it. But yeah, it's likely not gonna come to this again unless the game does a really good step forward with another update soon. Again, while I enjoyed my time with this game and it also helped me through quite a bit of a tough time, I think at this point it sadly is time to say farewell for it, for the most part. Again, maybe I'll keep up with just a few updates here and there, gonna see how the game turns out in the long run. But as of today, I am done playing. So, yeah. This leaves me with one thing to say. Thank you all for being with me on this journey. Thank you for watching. And see you maybe in another project. See you when Century of Steam rolls around. But for Railroads Online and for me, at this point, this is gonna be the end of a line. So yeah, till next time, whenever, whatever that may be. Until then, have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.